Hi guys, as we know, the DUP and other right-wing unionist parties in Northern Ireland support Brexit. They campaigned for it in the belief that it would result in a hard border on the island of Ireland. The headbangers were told that Brexit could risk the union, but as I've said before, their hatred towards Ireland and the EU is stronger than any love for the union. Here a caller named Jean phoned into the BBC Radio Ulster show to suggest that she backs Rishi Sunak to do what? Can you tell? I surely can't. Have a listen.
And what if Rishi Sunak, with direct rule, simply imposes the protocol he's currently negotiating with the EU? You'd be happy enough with that?
Well, I leave politics to Rishi.
Leave
I
it
have
to
every
him.
confidence in him.
As long as the guy in London does it, it doesn't matter what the protocol is.
I want I want my British MLAs that are supposed to be in Stormont to go over to the Houses of Parliament and rule directly from there.
Okay. To give you a little bit of context, what happened is the DUP want the Northern Ireland Protocol gone, and they have refused to allow the Assembly to form an executive. So there is no government basically in Northern Ireland because the DUP don't like the protocol, which is a consequence of Brexit. Okay, a Brexit that they campaigned for. And Jean here wants the MLAs, the MPs in the Northern Ireland Assembly, to go to Westminster and rule from Westminster. But they're not elected to Westminster. How could they rule from Westminster? They're representing constituencies in Northern Ireland. Like, just think about this for a moment. You're in the House of Commons, right? You're a Tory MP or a Labour MP, a Green MP, SNP MP, whatever, Liberal Democrat, and you see these Northern Ireland MLAs, representatives of the Northern Ireland Assembly, march in and sit down and vote on stuff. It doesn't really work like that, Jean. Can you imagine if it went the other way around? Can you imagine if MPs from Westminster just marched into the Northern Ireland Assembly and said, we're going to vote on stuff? Yeah, but you're not voted. You haven't been voted in here.
And cut out all the Irish people that have been elected. They can vote for the Dáil. Let everyone that's Irish up here vote for the Dáil.
What she's talking about here is the Dáil is the Irish Parliament in Dublin. So she's suggesting that the same thing happens. The pro-Irish MLAs, representatives of the Northern Ireland Assembly, members of the Northern Ireland Assembly, go to Dublin, march into that parliament and start voting on stuff there. Now, the host made a very interesting point. He said, well, if you want direct rule, then Rishi Sunak can bypass the DUP and say, okay, we're going to implement the protocol.
I'm all in favour for that. Mary Lou McDonald has no place in Northern Ireland soil.
Jean, you have to understand that somebody from outside of this place listening to this conversation will be going, what is she talking about? This is Northern Ireland. The clue is in the name. There are Irish people here. Most people in Northern Ireland have some kind of mixed.
There are Irish people in Northern Ireland. They're Northern Ireland people. I've never heard of Northern Ireland people.
Northern Ireland.
But we have people here who are Irish. We have people who are British.
Fine, let them
we
vote
have people
for the
here who
Dáil.
are both.
To vote for the Dáil, but they can't because it's not part of the jurisdiction. Is this woman advocating for a united Ireland? Maybe that's what she's advocating for, and she doesn't know it. She's advocating for, it seems, direct rule from Westminster, sort of, and she's sort of advocating for a united Ireland. I don't think so. Well, maybe accidentally. This makes no sense whatsoever.
Let them vote for the Dáil. Give them their rights down south.
So you only get to live here. You only get to live here if you believe you're British. Is that right?
Well, the Dáil can change the rules. They changed the rules to come up here.
They changed? What are you talking about? They changed the rules to come up here. I don't know what she's talking about here. The Dáil in Dublin changed the rules to come up. Do they have representatives in Northern Ireland? there have been parties like, Sinn Féin have obviously seats in Northern Ireland. But for example, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael have talked about opening offices in Northern Ireland. Of course, they'd have to have permission from the British government to do that. But, a United Ireland is on the horizon. So it would make sense that political parties in the Republic would get a feeling of, is there support for my party in Northern Ireland? But once again, I presume it would have to be, authorised by the UK government.
And
goodness, Jean,
British soil where we can't even fly our Union Jack except for the King's birthday.
It's a Union flag, not Union Jack. It's terrible that I have to correct her on this. It's the Union Jack is the one on the ship. Union flag is the one that's going on buildings. And she's claiming here that we can't even fly our Union flag. Northern Ireland is a particular place. You have two communities. One is pro-British, one is pro-Irish. And the UK government has basically washed their hands of the situation. And the Irish government is realising, look, we're going to inherit this sometime in the future. It's a mess. No offence to people in Northern Ireland, they know this. But politically, it's a mess. You have people like this who don't understand direct rule, don't understand the role of the Irish government, don't understand flags, don't understand representatives.
And all the royal family's birthday. It's a disgrace, the situation we're in. Let us have direct rule, send all our British MLAs over to Parliament, and we'll get everything sorted.
You can't send representatives to Parliament. You have already representatives in Parliament. They're called MPs. You can't send local politicians. It's like sending a councillor. Can you imagine if the SNP tomorrow said, we're going to send a load of our councillors down to Westminster? Would they be allowed in? It'd be a joke. Now, is this person a prank caller? I don't believe she's a prank caller. There are people who actually believe this rubbish. She's asking for direct rule. Well, be careful what you hope for, because you might actually get it. Because what's stopping the Northern Ireland Assembly from passing bills and passing budgets is the DUP. They don't want to get into government with Sinn Féin because of the protocol. Saying we want the protocol gone. The UK government this week, Steve Baker, Minister for Northern Ireland, said, okay, we'll pass the budget for Northern Ireland. But he said this is completely unacceptable. It should be the people of Northern Ireland voting for in their politicians, and they are the ones who should be passing the bill, should be passing the budget, not us. And the risk for the unionists now is by playing this hardball, Rishi Sunak could turn around and say, okay, well, we're just going to implement the protocol. We're going to ignore the Northern Ireland Assembly. We're going to ignore the DUP. We'll just implement it. And there's nothing you can do about it. There won't be an assembly because we're going to bypass the assembly. That what you want? These people are really... I don't know what to say. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.